An update is coming our way with a rebalance patch. This is one that I'm super curious about because it is a void champion that I actually have. Hey you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. Now with this update, there's actually going to be 2 champions that are revived, but the only one that I have is Raglin, so that is the one that I am excited about. Raglin is a champ that I actually pulled fairly early on in my raid journey, and if you've been following my channel, then you kind of know my luck with void legendaries. If you haven't, I've had some luck pulling void legendaries. Now, Raglin was a tremendous help for me early on, and a champ that I essentially used right away as soon as I got her. And there is kind of, I don't want to say like mixed reviews on her or anything. I think she's a great champion. She's got a very strong revive, but I think people wanted a little more from her. So when I got her, I was over the moon with her skills. And I remember in that video, some of the comments were like, hey, she's decent. She's good. She's got one very good skill. You could see where she would be useful for you. She's got uses for sure. But in other areas, like, she's kind of all right. And I think that depends on what legendaries you have on your account for how they will help you. As I said, she helped me out a lot. I used her in quite a few places. And then I think as I got more champs, I maybe started using her less and less. So I want to see what this new rebalance buff is all about. Taking a look at what they have actually said about these champions, and with Raglin, essentially the primary goal was to update her abilities to align with the current meta, enhancing her role as a cleanse healing reviver. Starting with the healing itself now scales with HP. Do you think that's going to make sense? Because I think people built her with a lot of attack to really make use of that, but now we can kind of put that HP into her. Since she's a support anyway, we needed to have some type of HP on her. I'm kind of just curious to see how much of it will scale with it, but it does say we're still keeping the attack scaling though, so you might get some impressive numbers with that one. I'm curious to see what that actually means, and I think putting it to the test is really how we're going to see that. Furthermore, her A2 ability now includes valuable buffs to empower your team's next move. Absolutely, totally agreed in what they said, which we will break down further. As for her revive, we're adding a sweet cherry on top, which reduces the cooldown of the revived allies. They'll be back from the dead and ready to fight. And let's not forget her passive, which she didn't have before, but now she does. This small yet powerful addition to her kit ensures her readiness and protects her from lockout strategies. So this is kind of their mindset on why, or like, I guess how they wanted to buff Raglin and what they wanted to do. So we need to break this down even further. Raglin is one of the few faction ones I have for Banner Lords, and that's part of the reason I found a lot of use in her, because she obviously helped me a lot as a support in there for something like Faction Wars, and I think it's about to get even better. So starting off with the skill Mercy. So used to remove all debuffs from all allies and then heal them. The heal amount is proportional to this champion's attack. 4-turn cooldown. Now it's going to remove all debuffs from all allies and place a 50% increase accuracy buff, 50% increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. Then heals all allies. The value of the heal is proportional to this champion's attack and HP. That makes a lot more sense that it's not just attack. I love that they included the and HP. And the fact that we're getting some additional buffs in there, that doesn't hurt at all. Now, next is the Miracle. So this is actually Revive. So essentially revives an ally with 75% HP and a full turn meter, what it used to be. Well, now it's going to revive an ally with 75% HP, 100% turn meter, also decreases the cooldowns of all of the revived allies' skills by 3 turns. That right there is going to be huge because I'm going to be getting a cooldown in there. And again, using Raglin in a few places. I actually use Raglin in dungeons as well. So the fact that I have a reviver now, that's not only going to give them some HP and a turn meter, but now we get the benefit of the cooldown. We're also getting Blessed Invocation, which this champion is immune to a block active skills debuff and cooldown increasing effects. It's the second part of this skill that I'm excited about. The increasing of the cooldown effects that we are now going to be immune to, because as a support, not having that kind of weighing you down is going to be super duper useful. Now, I will say part of what makes Raglin so good and part of why I thought she was great right away, and as I said, other players were, not that they said she was bad, don't get me wrong by any means, but I think it is all variable based on what you have on your account. So if you have champions that maybe suit you better and do better things for you, then that makes sense. But I do think part of what makes Raglin so good, and I know everyone can essentially agree, is the fact that I think for Reviver, she's got one of the strongest revives in the game, because essentially you have a 2-turn revive on her. And this is one of the reasons I was already using Raglin, and part of the reason that she helped me out tremendously early on. And as I said, I still use her in some dungeons. Haven't been using her as much lately, but I think with this balance that she is getting, I might actually kind of re-gear her a little bit and see how I can improve her and what I can do for her. So already was using her for this revive in here as well. But as I said, the fact that we are now also getting the decrease of the cooldown of the skills by 3 turns. So if I actually go to my Raglin, I'm curious to see what gear I've got on her, because it's been a bit. So I actually currently have her on Relentless and Def. And this is how you know I have not touched her in a while, is the fact that this is what I've got on her for the defense. Like, I've got defense gear set on her and they're not great. Hasn't been touched probably since I actually got this champion. But with this champ, I do actually have a blessing on her. I've got her actually somewhat booked because I needed her somewhat booked when I was using her. She was essentially one of those revives that I was really taking advantage of. I wanted this on the 2-turn cooldown. Now I have that. So I'm pretty excited to actually put her to the test and see what I can do with her. I even got her masteries almost done, actually, somewhat built. So she has been a core for me in a lot of areas of this game, and I'm kind of excited to breathe new life into her, fix up her gear a little bit. The Relentless, I think I'm gonna keep that. That can stay on there, but I think we might actually be able to swap this defense out, partially because it's rare and I'm actually not using rare gear sets really anymore, and second of all because I put her on a defense gear set at the time. So all of this can definitely be improved. I will 100% be putting her to the test as soon as this update goes through, and I will let you guys know how it goes. I will put her through the ringer and test out, and we can kind of examine all of that together. I will say I am curious on the fact that they're adding in that passive, and I think that's something that would make a lot of sense for Raglin, because looking at this kit she has, I mean, it's a pretty decent first skill we have here. I like what they're adding into the second skill. As I said, the third skill is already very strong revive, and it is about to be even stronger. The 2-turn cooldown is like, you get her booked, is a must. It's amazing when you pair her with somebody in your team like a nuker. Kind of think of that. If I'm pairing her with a nuker, what can I potentially do out of that? Or even pairing her with one of my good supports like a Cece. Say if I double revive, I've got Cece, I've got her, Raglin dies, Cece revives, Cece dies, Raglin revives. It'd be a revive circle among all my other champions. But yeah, so as I said, the passive coming in and being immune to the blocking of the active skills debuffs and the cooldown increasing effects, all of that is going to go very, very nicely together. And I think it's a good update that's coming. And I know for some people, they are still waiting for other champs to actually have a balance patch happen or have them be buffed. One of the ones off the top of my head, I just got this champion, and I know some people were saying we had World Lizard Day and they didn't give this champ a buff. I mean, some buffs will have to wait. As I said, there is another champion that is going to be buffed as well. However, this is a champion I do not have, so I'm not able to speak on any personal experience for that champion, but maybe you guys are excited for that one. Maybe you're excited for both of these champs to get buffed. For me, I'm always excited when it's a legendary that I have and one that I've already found to be useful, and kind of excited to see what more use I can get out of Raglin. If you download Raid Shadow Legends using my link, I'm actually going to start you off with the free legendary champion on day 1. And then at level 10, level 20, and level 30, you'll get yourself an epic. That is 4 amazing champions that you can get just by downloading using my link. I'm sure we all have a list of champs that we actually want to see updated, so I want you guys to comment down below and let me know who is a legendary that you have that you would love to either rebalanced or buffed. Leave those champs in the comments down below, and be sure you guys subscribe so you're able to see what we do with Raglin when we really put her to the test once this patch actually comes through. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!